So it says, review, complete the following. So here's some terminology. Does anybody remember, what was the word for a series of equal payments made at regular time intervals? Your hint is it began with the letter A. Okay, so let's fill this in. This is a word that you'll learn when you start to borrow money. It's called an annuity. So for example, when I graduated from college, I had $40,000 in student loans. The government very quickly set up an automatic annuity. Every month they deducted money directly from my paycheck until I got it paid off. Most of you, if you go to post-secondary, will probably graduate with some debt, and it'll be set up as an annuity. It's nicer if the annuity is an investment, so someday when I retire, I'll have a pension plan. That will be an annuity in my favor. There are different forms. So a regular savings plan, if you look at your bank statements, if you have a savings account at the end of the month, you'll get a little bit of interest, not much unless you got a lot in your savings. Interest rates right now are really low. Paying off a loan or a mortgage. Usually annuities are monthly, but sometimes they'll go bi-weekly, every 2 weeks. How many months are there in a year? 12. How many weeks are there in a year? 52, which if you pay every 2 weeks, it means you'll do like 26 payments instead of, say, twice a month, 24 payments. You can kind of tweak various things. I get my paycheck twice a month. That's not an annuity, it's a paycheck, but I get it on the 15th and on the last day of the month, whether it's the 30th or the 31st or in February the 28th or whatever. Retirement income is another one, pensions. So, also using TVM to represent non-annual compound interest problems. P/Y stands for payments per year, and it's I'll use a number sign if I can, it's the number of payments made to the investment or loan each year. The software glitch is this. If you're not making any payments, you have to make P/Y the same as your C/Y. And I think your calculator does that by default anyhow. I don't like that, but the rest of the shortcuts far outweigh that software glitch. For questions with payments, the P/Y value is equal to the number of payments made in 1 year. So, using the TVM function to solve annuity problems. Remember, that means you're making periodic payments. So note the following. Remember, the P/Y value is equal to the number of payments made in 1 year. Didn't you just say that? Yes, I'm repeating myself. You're teenagers. I find that repeating helps. The fact that you're teenagers means that saying the same thing over and over is an assist. Repeating things for teenagers can sometimes be helpful. See how I did that 3 times there? Oh, over your head. Okay. Again, the PV, the present value or initial amount, may be 0 or it might not be. If PV is 0, it indicates that there is no initial amount, but there are regular periodic payments. If PV is a number other than 0, then an initial sum of money was invested or borrowed together. So if you're starting out with $5,000 in the account, then PV won't be 0. But if you're starting out with 0, the present value is not your first deposit. The present value is you started out with nothing. So let's do a question for review. Thomas Cruiser, Tom Cruise? No, okay. Borrows $7,000, so now we're borrowing, not investing, $7,500 from a bank to buy a used car. The bank issuing him the loan charges 8.25% interest per year. All of you, can you underline? This is the trigger phrase that explains a lot. First of all, the word compound says, don't use simple on your calculator. Compounded how, Taylor? Compounded how? So I'm going to be thinking I'll multiply the number of years by 12 and all that stuff. If Thomas makes $175 monthly payments at the end of each month for 4 years, How much does he have left to repay? This is a good question. This is more realistic. Okay. Well, how much time? Can you get out your graphing calculators? Can you go into the TVM solver? Four years times 12 months per year. N is 48. Right? The interest rate is 8.25%. Okay? What's the present value? How much did he borrow? That's the money that he has to pay off. We're going to make it positive because that's how much he has to whittle down. What's he paying each month? Now, how would I show that this is reducing the present value? That 175, make it what? Negative. I could make the loan be negative because that's how much I'm owing and think this is the positive payment. But I wouldn't want to, in this case, Julia, let both be negative. Okay? So I'm going to make the payment negative. I would prefer to let the loan be negative. I owe $7,500. Owe to me means negative. And then I'm putting in $175 each month for my payment. Final value, I'm going to put a temporary zero there. How many payments per year? Monthly means 12 and 12. If I do this, what's the final value? Okay. What does this, and now if I exit, I got all of it on one screen. What does this all mean? So let's fill in part B here. What is the payment value and why is it negative? The key idea is it has to be the opposite. If you're talking about a loan and you're paying it off, it has to lower the loan. Okay? So why is this positive? The PV value is 7,500. Why is it positive? It's the start value. Why is it negative? This lowers the present value. Why is P/Y and C/Y 12 compounded how, Taylor? You answered this earlier. Compounded how? Monthly. That's why it's... What if it was compounded daily? What would P/Y and C/Y be? 365. Okay. Now, what if he was paying every month, but it was compounded daily? Then the payments per month would be 12, but the compound would be 365. So you don't have to match. Okay. Why is the entry 48? 4 years, 12 times a year. Here's the question as well. Why is the final amount that there? Did we answer that? How much? Yeah. How much does he still owe the bank at the end? He owes $508.53. Why negative? He still has to put that much more negative payment in to reduce the loan. Is that okay, Mackenzie? Okay. Now, if you wanted to do this by hand, Ashley, here's what you would have had to have done. You would have had to calculate the compound interest after 1 month, then after 2 months, then after 3 months. You have to do it 48 different times. Forget it. Let's use this technology. Now, it says this is the more interesting question. See, here's the problem, Oscar. You're not going to have the loan paid off. What if you want to have the loan paid off? How much money do you need to dump in? So part D says, adjust the TVM solver so that Thomas pays off the loan. Let's go to this screen. If he pays off the loan, what's the final value? Put a 0 in for final value. What do we want to find then? Well, if he continues making the same payment, we could ask, how long? How long will it take? Which of these variables, N, I percent, PV, but which of these is how long? That many months. 50.9, how many months really? 60? 50.9, how many months really? 51. And here is the more important question, and this is why borrowing money is expensive. How much did the car really cost Thomas? Now, in theory, $7,500, but how much did he end up paying? How much each month? Times how many months? Not 48, 51. How much does he end up paying the bank? Go to your calculator, please. So now we got to go to our regular menu, math. 175 times 51. This was not a $7,500 car. This was an $8,925 car. In other words, he paid $1,425 in interest for the privilege of getting his car today, not 4 years from now. Sometimes you have no choice. What's a house run for around, give or take?
$3 million.
Downtown Vancouver, $3 million. Watching the Kardashians, $3 million. But here in Maple Ridge, anywhere around $250,000 to $300,000. I'm assuming none of you have that kind of cash sitting around. Very few people can buy a house outright. Okay, so that's why there is a point where you have no choice but to borrow. But again, understand on your mortgage, if you borrow $300,000 for a house, you're not paying $300,000 for that house. If you add it up, you're paying a heck of a lot more than that. Example 2. Dharma Asphalt. What great names. Applied for a loan to have her basement developed. The contractors that she hired estimated it would have cost her approximately that much there. I think that's going to be my starting amount, isn't it? My principal, my present value. Oh, wait a minute. Dharma had already saved $7,000 towards home improvements. Okay, so she received a loan for the remaining amount. How much did she borrow? Not $13,700. She put a down payment. How much, Darian? Let's put that in for present value. $6,700. What else has it told us? How many years? 4. And then here is the key question. Taylor, are you ready? Because this is going to be your cue. Compounded how?
Monthly.
Read the question.
All quarterly.
Means how many times per year?
4.
Okay. How many years? 4. How many times per year? 4. What's N going to be? It's going to be that. Or as a number, what is 4 times 4? 16. Okay. By the way, what's this question want us to find? Dom, what? Annual rate of interest. Of those variables there, what's it want me to find? I. Let's put a little question mark right there. It's asking us, she's going to shop around and see what kind of a loan she needs to get as an interest rate. Okay. What's her payment per month? Did it tell us that? $175? Am I going to make that negative or positive? It has to lower the loan because this is not an investment. So, by the way, if I made it positive, what would we be? what we would be saying is she had started with 6,700, and she was adding $175 to her investment, and the total is going to be even bigger. Julia, does that do a better job of explaining why negatives and positives make a difference? Okay. What do we want the final value to be? No, not 13,000. We're paying off a loan, right? What? 0. How many payments per year? Read the question. How often is she paying this? Does it say monthly payments? 12. And Taylor, compounded how?
Quarterly.
So compound periods per year, how many? Okay, there's our data. Doing this by hand, Grayson, is yucky. Doing this on a financial calculator or with a spreadsheet or something, much nicer. So let's enter our data. Four times 4, or you can just type 16. I'm going to put a temporary 0 in for the interest rate as my placeholder. So we're going to start with 6,700. Payment, negative 175. Final value I want to be 0. 12 payments a year, but compounded quarterly. And what do we want to find? Interest rate. Whoa! Did I type something wrong? I must have typed something wrong. Did I? Isn't what? Isn't it 4 and 4? No, it's 12 payments per year. She's dumping in money every month, but the interest is getting charged quarterly 4 times a year. Right? It does say that she's paying it off at the end of each month. Right there. Now I got to figure out why I'm getting a bizarre answer here. Oh, I know why. Okay. Got to go obscure. N is the number of payments. The number of payments that she's making. How often is she paying? A year. How often? So you know what? I have to go 4 years times 12. I went with the number of compound periods because it was compounded quarterly. It's actually, Brianna, how often she's making the payment. And now let's see if I put a temporary 0 there. Let's see if we get an interest rate that makes sense. Do we? 11? Ah, there we go. Whew. 11.7%. So double check your signs. Give me 1 second. I'm going to write the answer. 11.7%. Let me pause and I'll come look. Don't clear anything. Credit. Most of you in the next couple of years, almost certainly when you go to college or university, because credit cards get those rosters. Did I start the recording? I did. You're going to get an application for a credit card. Well, they're handy. If you're on vacation, you can't rent a car without a credit card. I buy stuff on Amazon with my credit card. They can be death traps if you're not good financially with your discipline. Very easy to rack up a lot of money on a credit card, and the interest rates are crazy. I think I told you, so I put all my expenses on my credit card every month, and I pay it off religiously every month. So the credit card company has a name for me. They call me a deadbeat because they make no money off me. They don't make any interest off me. And I get points from them for I apply it to traveling. So, consumer credit occurs when an item is purchased and payment for it is made at a later date. There are usually, almost always, interest charges which result in the consumer paying more than the original purchase price. The amount of interest paid is called the finance charge. Ginger buys a drum set advertised at $2,950. Or you can buy it in 24 easy payments of $170 each. How much did she really pay for the drum set? If she used the payment method. Sorry? Is that right, folks? So what's the finance charge? How much did it cost her to get the drum now? Well, she ended up paying that much for something that was worth that much. More specific, please. I want exactly.
1,000.
Y'all have calculators.
1,130.
Okay. You've seen the ads on TV. Buy now, 3 easy payments, 5 easy payments, 10 easy. Add it up, you're paying way more than the item is worth. But you want it now. We are in a I want it now society. TV ad, home theater system. You can buy now for $5,000 or no payment for 12 months and then 36 easy monthly payments of $205 each. Or option C, 12.5% of the original amount down plus 48 easy payments of $130. Which option is less costly? How many options are there, Jake? You know what? Let's go like that. Okay. First of all, option A is almost certainly less costly, but it needs $5,000. Does he have $5,000? So even though, no, it tells you. How much does he have available, Taylor? Look up. How much does he have available? 1,000. So does he have 5,000? Nope.
No.
So option A, although it's the best, it's always best to pay in cash. Can't be done. So really we're looking at option B and option C. Option B is 36 payments of $205 each. How much will he pay in option B? So what's the finance charge? $7,380, take away $5,000. This option costs him an extra $2,380. What about option C? 12.5% down. So first thing we want to do is we want to find 12.5% of 5,000. What does the word of mean in math almost always? What mathematical operation? Carson, times? And can I do math with 12.5%? Nope. What do I have to do before I do any arithmetic with a percent? Change it back into a decimal. So 12.5% is what as a decimal? Okay. How much money is he going to have to put? Does he have enough to cover the down payment? Okay, so the down payment is going to be $625. Then, plus 48 payments of $130. How much will this option cost him? I don't think so. 48 times 130 plus the $625 down payment, right? Don't forget that. That's coming out of his pocket too. This will cost him $6,865. This one has a finance fee or finance charge of how much? $1,865. Which option is less costly? A, can't do it. Which option is less costly? C. And that's almost always the case. Brianna, if you make a down payment, you'll pay less later. Let's go back to buying a house. If you borrow everything on a house, which they'll let you do, you're going to end up paying way more over your 25-year mortgage than if you can manage for a few years to save up maybe $20,000 and put that down as a down payment. That'll dramatically lower your long-term costs. I mean, again, you want to make this a house, just add 2 zeros to every number and you can see the difference. Oh, now we're talking $18,000 saved. Or it's, yeah, it adds up. Credit cards. Most people have a credit card. Credit cards are not bad, Pam. They're not evil. They're handy. Pam, here, sit up. There you go. If you want to buy sports tickets or concert tickets online, you need a credit card. So I use them all the time, but I've also seen people get into trouble with them. Pause the video. So, if you choose not to pay the balance on the card by the agreed date, if you choose to pay off the balance, then can you put it face down in block D? Then there's no interest. No, face down in block D. Thank you. If you don't pay it off, then interest is charged, and it's huge for credit cards, usually around 20 to 25%, not 7%. So the interest rate on a credit card is a great deal, can you all underline great deal, more than the interest rate on a loan or mortgage. Okay? You can use a credit card to borrow money. It's just a bad idea. So, well-known credit card companies. What are the 2 major credit card companies? MasterCard and Visa. Somewhat American Express, but American Express isn't as popular because you can get a MasterCard for free or a Visa card for free. American Express always charges a yearly fee. Okay? So that's why it's not quite as popular. They're similar in the way they charge. So usually no interest is charged if the entire balance is paid within 25 days of the billing date. So when you get your bill, it'll say, must be paid off by thus and such. So my credit card payments, I think they're paid on the 16th. And so I always pay them off automatically with my bank on the 15th, because the 15th is when I get my paycheck every month. So I want my bank balance to go up before I pay off my credit card. See if I get as much interest as I can. Interest on balance owing is calculated from the date the transaction was posted until, but not including, the current statement date. To stop interest accumulation, call the credit card company and make the full payment. Pay your credit cards off. It says to answer the class examples and assignment questions, use the above credit cards. Here's a statement. Turn the page, please. Page 523. Okay? Some basics, because all of you are going to have a credit card, unless you go bankrupt and can't get a credit card. What's the minimum payment I have to make per month here? Read the statement. $37.88. Okay? How much did I put on my credit card this month? Well, the previous balance was carried over. What was the balance from the previous month? Okay, so let's answer the questions. It says, explain the entry 1728.44 negative. What's that? What's this? Okay, they got my payment. Either some people still mail checks. I do all mine online. In fact, I have an app. I do it all on my phone. Okay, so they got the payment, and you almost always get a token. Thank you. Okay, so this is the paid off last month. So what's the new balance? The new balance is going to be the new charges. It's going to be this plus this plus this plus this plus that. Can you quickly calculate that? Add them on your calculator, please. What do you get? What's the sum? It's not right in front of you, Brianna? Isn't it right in front of you? No?
1,262.57
Anybody else get that? Yeah? One more? If 3 people get the same answer, because there's lots of typing. Anybody else get that? Yeah? Okay, so I think that's right. Okay. Where did the minimum payment come from? This I'm not going to get into, but for what it's worth, what they do is they take 3% of how much is owing times 0.03, and there's your minimum payment. Or your minimum payment is $10. In other words, if this was less than $10, the minimum payment's going to be $10. They're always going to bump it up to 10. So it's $10 or 3% of what you owe, whichever is bigger. D, why might the date of the posting be different from the date of the transaction? Oh, here's the date of the transaction, here's the date of the posting. What's the difference between those two? Carson? More specific, the why. Okay? Things are not all that instant. There is a huge, any of you work in like a department store or Save On? Any of you do any of the financial bookkeeping? There is an entire operation in the background where balances have to, and ledgers, and anybody work at as a cashier, either at a gas station, at a till, okay? They got to take the tape off at the end of every shift. They have to go through the tape individually. The tape has to match the computer record. There's a huge process, and that's all legally required by the government to make sure that no one gets ripped off, and that takes time. So this person bought this piece of electronics on the 23rd, but it never got sent into the credit card company till the 25th, either electronically or via mail. Usually now, Carson, the dates don't have much of it's the same day because most of the time it's electronic, but not, I'm telling you, not every company does everything electronically because that's a big investment, okay? I'm not going to worry about the credit card stuff for your test. It's kind of cool. However, one more thing. Can you all get your smartphones out, please? So if you haven't finished the previous workbook homework, hey, you know what? I've just decided on Wednesday, the last day of classes, while you guys are doing your quest, I'm going to do a homework check on the financial homework. So make sure you've done lesson 1 and lesson 2. I think you can try number 1. Number 2. In fact, I like number 2. I like number 2. I like number 2. And it's useful. Okay. Number 3. Now in number 3, this is also more useful. Here, you're figuring out what your monthly payment's going to be, which really is what most people that take out a loan are interested in. They're interested, can I afford the payments? Otherwise, what's the point? Number 3 is good. 4 is good. 5 is good. 6 is good. So far I've done everything. Outlook audio. Oh, okay. Yeah, so here you figure out how much it would cost with Outlook Audio's plan. There's room right there. But also the Blair family says, maybe I'll go check out, maybe I can get a bank loan and get it done for cheaper rather than matching the company's finance. So try that. 8 as well, and I think I'm going to pause there because I think the rest are credit card statements, and I'm not going to worry about that. So 1 through 8 inclusive. Okay? Get everything done, get caught up. Monday we're going to look at the single biggest purchase. I'll get you in a second, Taylor. Single biggest purchase that you'll all do, mortgages and how that works. We'll talk about easy for me to say. This word here, amortization. I couldn't get that word out. She sells amortization by the seashore. Got it out now. We'll talk about some of the terminology and how that all works. Then on Wednesday, I'm going to give you a test. I'm probably going to pick 2 questions from each homework assignment, maybe 3.